There and welcome to Thursdays with Annette. I'm so glad you're joining me today because I've got a fantastic topic. I've got it all displayed for you today and it's all about luscious lunch tips. Try and say that quickly. Luscious lunch tips, oh my goodness. Now, I want to talk about last week's show before we get into the lunches. I did the carrot cake from book 1 and I think there was a lot of love fest over the fabulous recipe because it's so much lower in fat than a traditional carrot cake. And I want to just give you some of the lovely ladies that commented. Rebecca, now she wrote, wow, what a difference in fat and calories, because it sure is. I love carrot cake, but I haven't had it in ages because it's not so healthy. So I'm excited. It's great to see a better, much healthier one. Yay. Thank you, Annette. Now, Gail also said she loved watching my videos. Thank you, Gail. And she loves seeing how to make the recipes because sometimes she thinks it's too hard. But when she sees me making it, it seems a lot easier. Definitely going to try the carrot cake and thank you for the inspiration in it. So that's wonderful, Gail. Carmen wrote, I just love watching your cooking shows. You're always so cheery, motivational and super duper organised. Well, thank you, Carmen. Your cake is so much healthier and I'll bake this one for Easter. What a great idea with the bunny and the carrots. They're going bush camping, so that's fantastic. On Monday, she did a cooking. And absolutely loves it. So thank you everyone for your positive feedback. Now we always have winners and of course last week it was all about winning book 1 personally signed by moi, and the winners are, do I have a drum roll please? Carolyn Scottney was very excited. Serena Lush, now she was so excited. She says wow, 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 thank you. Now, she uses her mum's books all the time, so now she's actually going to start her own collection. So fantastic, Serena. Now, Kelly McLean, she said, look, I'm going to gift this to my mum because she absolutely loves your cookbooks and they're getting so old they're falling to pieces. Now, I'm thinking that's a very lovely daughter. Maybe you should keep it for Mother's Day and that will save you a present. All right, now, before we begin, I want you to get pen and paper organised because I've got lots of tips and I want you to take notes because I'm going to go quickly and I'm going to be talking about a lot of things because at the end of the day, what actually does define a healthy lunch? Well, what I did is I created a little lunchbox here, which I would be giving my grandson or probably myself for lunch. So let's look at what's in this. Now, we always need to have some protein with our lunch. And I'll explain that a little bit further later on, but protein is really important. So we've got a cheese and Vegemite sandwich for our little Aussie boy. Now, then we've also got the fibre that you need. So you're going to get, like I've got carrot sticks, I've got the tomatoes, even popcorn's got a bit of fibre in it and the grapes, as well as this multi-grain bread, the 9-grain, that will give you fibre, and the muesli bar. And always make sure when you look at it that it's got at least 3 grams of fibre for that muesli bar before you even think about putting in your lunch. Now, the other thing you're looking at is dairy. Dairy is really important. So we've got the yogurt there, which is fantastic. And you know, the cheese, if he wanted cheese, that would be another thing that would give him the dairy as well, and a protein. Now you want healthy carbs, you need energy during the day, so we've got the bread, there's a bit of carbs in the muesli as well, a bit of carbs in the popcorn, and all the fruit have got a little bit of carb in them too to pick you up. But also the big key here, apart from this fabulous lunchbox, is making sure that you've got water. You need to have water available during the day and especially at lunchtime to keep you hydrated. So let's go and see where we go from here. Now, lunch is the second most important meal of the day. You know, breakfast is the number 1. And one of the things I want you to look at is different options for lunch. Because hands up if you're bored with your lunch. I'm a creature of habit. I tend to have similar things over and over, but then I suddenly go, oh my gosh, I can't eat a salad anymore. I have to have something different. So I've got some ideas for you today. So let's get started. Now, one of my favourite lunches, I don't care what time of the year it is soup. Now, you can always get those little cup of soups if you're really struggling for time and that. They're okay, but you can't compare that to a bowl of homemade soup. And you know, I've got loads and loads of fabulous soup recipes in my cookbooks, and what I do with the soup is I make a big pot of it and then I put it into individual serves. I write on the container in the freezer. I just pop out one of those, you know, in the morning, or if you're at work you could just take it frozen and then just chuck it in your microwave to heat it up for lunch. And I'd serve it with some 9-grain toast, you know, which is this fantastic 9-grain tip top. Look, the key here is mixing up your salad. It's not about having, you know, just lettuce, tomato and cucumber every day if you're doing salads for lunch. You know, add some mushrooms every now and, you know, chop up or grate some carrot. Now, I've discovered these little baby cucumbers. Like, you've got your normal cucumber, of course, but they are really yum. So just a silly thing like buying that opposed to the typical one that I normally use, it just gives you a little bit of difference. You know, like your celery, I love fresh corn, you know, just slice it down and sprinkle it on your salad. Beans, you know, like, you know, all those different types of things are going to make a difference. You know, instead of just maybe having tomato, you have cherry tomatoes for a change. You know, just make it so that you're not getting completely bored every day with the same salad. And then when you're doing your salads, let's think about the dressings that go on it, because that's important. Otherwise, salad can be a bit boring. So you've got your 97% fat-free mayonnaises, you've got your no-fat mayonnaises like your Italian, your balsamic, your French. You know, put a different dressing on each day. Now, if you're taking salad to work, then put this in a little container that's well sealed and then put it on when you're ready to eat it, because otherwise it'll go soggy. And if you're doing sort of sliced tomatoes, then, you know, be careful of that because it can get quite wet. So think about wet ingredients going into salad so it doesn't go soggy. The other thing that's really fantastic for lunch, and just for something a bit different, is I make my, you know, ham and corn slice, which I made on the show not long ago, zucchini slice. Actually, zucchini slice is on my Facebook page at the moment, so if you want that recipe, go grab it because it's fabulous. And what I do is I make it, it serves 6, cut it into the 6 serves, cling wrap into a container in the freezer. Now, I can get that out and defrost that in the morning, and that with a bit of salad, I feel like I'm having a fizzy fabulous lunch. I mean, it's just better than just having maybe a bit of ham. Because you know what, I'm all about variety here today. We want to pick it up and make lunch fizzy fabulous. Now, the other thing you can do is make sure you add protein into your lunch. Now, I know I've spoken to, you know, for many, many years about this, and I see that the elderly are ones that are the worst for it, and just making like a tomato sandwich or just a salad sandwich. No, you can't do that. You need some protein, especially if you haven't had protein for breakfast. You really need to prioritise protein in your lunch, because if you don't have protein, you're going to get tired and lethargic in the afternoon, and often headaches come around and you go, why am I getting a headache? Think about what you had for lunch. I mean, it might have been the wine if you were out to lunch, but normally it could be the lack of protein. So let's look at some of the proteins that are great. So we've got your 97% fat-free ham. Like, it's as lean as anything. It's fantastic. And I really like this as well, and that's the turkey breast. And that's also 97% fat-free. So this is the thing. Look at your deli meats and make sure they're lean. I mean, you could cook a roast chicken, for example, and then slice it all up and have that with your lunches during the week. Or if you're cooking a roast beef or a roast lamb, you know, slice some, put it into little containers, even in the freezer, and just put, you know, lamb lunch. And then you know that you can pull that out to make yourself a lamb sandwich. You know, don't ever throw these things out. Keep them. You might think, oh, it's not very much. It's probably enough for a sandwich. Yeah. Do it. Now, the other thing as well is that for protein, you can use baked beans. Baked beans are fantastic. You know, and this is one that if, say, for example, you are feeling really tired in the afternoon, you need something, grab a little can of baked beans and just eat it, and you'll feel so much better for it. But, you know, you could take a can to work, you know, microwave it, some toast if they've got it in the workroom, or, you know, if you're at home, baked beans for lunch is fantastic. Now, also, I really like these little, you know, tasty cans of tuna. I find normal tuna is boring, so I like the different flavours. This is the lemon and cracked pepper, and my favourite is the curry, the Indian curry and that. So salmon, tuna, you're not going to put that in your salad in the morning, and you certainly don't want to put it on your sandwich, guys, because this is called soggy sandwich. So I just take the little small can with me. You know, these ones have their own opener, but otherwise, you know, take a can opener with you if you can, and then just open it when you're ready to do it, and then just add it to your sandwich, and that way everything's going to be delicious. And the cheese is another really great protein and dairy that you could have. Now, you know I love my Bega Super Slims. I use these in the program a lot. And in my recipes, I do a 30% fat-free cheese. But I've also discovered this one recently, and it's a 50%, I know, 50% less fat, and it's actually really good. And so that's really nice on a sandwich as well. All right, so don't skip lunch. That's the worst thing you can do, because that's where you can really come undone and you'll binge all afternoon. So really trying to plan ahead, you know, what can you do to make lunch as easy as possible for yourself? So you might do your lunches the night before, you know, or you might look at some really quick alternatives, and we'll get into that as well. One of the things that's important with any of your meals is to look at how much you're having. So one of the things that I like to show you is how to do it. So you've got your portion plate. Now, this is a really good example of how to do it right. So you've got the arrow going down here, and this half here is saying this is where you have your salad or vegetables. So with all your beautiful salad ingredients, load it up. I don't care if it's bulging over. You can never eat too much salad. The only salad that we don't include in there is probably avocado. And think of corn as a carbohydrate, not so much as a veggie. And potato, of course, is not going to go on that either. So there you go over here, and you've got the line going there, and it's dividing the other half. So you've got here, which is your proteins, where this is where your ham or your turkey or your salmon, pink salmon or whatever, and here is your carbohydrates. So that could be your roll or rice or whatever you're sort of thinking to have, crackers. So that's a really good example of how to do it right with your portions. Now, let's think about the sandwiches. I really want you to go with like a 9-grain bread or wholemeal. I'm not a big fan of white, and I know that you can actually get some white bread if your kids are really like adamant about they don't want the stony bread, that have got the fibre and calcium put in them. So have a look at those breads too. The key is to not put wet ingredients together on a sandwich. So if, for example, you want to have a cheese and tomato sandwich, put the cheese in, wrap it up, but then get your tomato and either take it with you, and you know, if you're in an office and that, I'm sure they'll have a knife for you, or if it's for the kids at school, then slice up the tomato, cling wrap it or put it into a little container, and then, as I did with the tuna and the salmon, put it on the bread as you're eating it. What I don't think is a good idea for pre-made lunches is canned beetroot. Oh my gosh, it will make such a mess. I mean, I love grated beetroot over a salad. It's fantastic. And try that. You just peel the skin off the beetroot and then just finely grate it, sprinkle over. It's really good for you. But canned is really wet, and it will make a soggy sandwich. And I always think, you know, like, think about what this is going to be like in 4 hours. You know, like you're going to maybe have it in a fridge, but you want it appealing, and that way you're not going saying, oh, this looks horrible, and go out and get, you know, pizza or something for lunch because your sandwiches let you down. Now, with your spreads on sandwich, you know, like everyone just thinks, oh, I'll just put butter on or whatever. I mean, we're looking at healthy. Remember, this is what we define as a healthy lunch options. And so I've got 3 options for you, which I think are fabulous. So, of course, there's the Flora-Lite margarine, which I use in all my recipes. So I think that's great because it's half the fat of normal butter or margarine. You've also got hummus, the skinny hummus. And I really like that sometimes spread on my sandwich just for a change. And it really is delicious. And then you've always got the trusty avocado, and that's fantastic. Now, I could say to you, look, just put avocado on your sandwich, but you know what? It is, once again, about portion sizes. So I actually, when you cut it in half, and I tend to weigh it because I can be super generous with avocado, and I really only want 30 grams of avocado on my sandwich. So I tend to spread it on one side, and on the other side, I might put a little bit of mayonnaise. So just be careful on your portion sizes with your avocado. All right. The other thing that you can do as well, which I do a lot, is having a bake day. Now you might think, oh really, do I need that on a Saturday or Sunday when I'm supposed to be, relaxing? But a month later, when you're still eating out of there, you're going to be really grateful for all those little things like muffins. Maybe make some pikelets where you freeze them and just pop them out 2 or 3 to go in your lunchbox or your kids' lunchbox. Now, what do you do when the kids, with the kids' lunchboxes? Because I know for a parent, this is a really hard thing. So when you think about, if the fruit is coming home in the lunchbox, then make it a bit more interesting. Like I put grapes in there because they're little fingers, they can grab them and they really want to eat lunch and get into the playtime. You could put maybe some blueberries or strawberries. Think about cutting up the fruit instead of putting a plum in, because then when they eat it, they've got the seed, it's dripping all over the place. Slice it up for them. And say for an apple, just don't give them an apple, dice it, make it interesting. Melons are really good for that as well, and you'll find that that will work. Now, if you find things are coming home from lunch and they're only eating the stuff that I probably wouldn't normally put in a lunchbox, there's so many things you can buy in the supermarket now that are just got no substance to it at all, especially a lot of the bars that they have and the little packets of this and little packets of that. I really want you to own the responsibility of a healthy lunchbox for your kids. You're the boss, not them. Don't let them bully you into putting chips and silly things in there, like you don't want lollies and rubbish in a lunchbox. It needs to be healthy. Define it as that. And if they want to have something rubbishy, then maybe give it to them, when they're out and about. But at school, it's called healthy. Because, like a lot of the stuff is so high in fat or sugar or salt. So look a bit careful. I've got a couple of suggestions for you. I mean, like you've got your little juice boxes. Kids really like them, but I like this because it's only a 200 ml. It's not a really big one. And it says no added sugar. I like it. 100% juice. Very good. Now, look, for the little kids, they love these. My little 3-year-old grandson, he really likes these. And, when he wants something like, after a sandwich, this is a little option for you. And they're not too bad. They're quite all right. Also, like, little packets like dried cranberries or the sultanas. I love the dried peaches. So dried fruits are often nice in a lunchbox, even of course, for us too. Like, I like a little packet of sultanas to have. The one thing that I do have, you'll see a few different suggestions here that I have on my menu plans, and one of them is the snack. So you've got the little bit of cheese there in your cracker, so you're getting a bit of carb, you're getting a bit of dairy, you're also getting a little bit of protein. So that could be a good afternoon snack or morning tea to pack in your lunch or the kids' lunchbox. I'm not sure about school because nuts can be a bit tricky, but a handful of almonds, 20 grams, maybe 25 at the most, is a really great way to pick yourself up, pack that in your lunch. And, muesli bars, like look at them closely. Look in the back and see that they're at least 3 grams of fibre before you think about buying them. And, when I say the word treats, like, okay, I get it that sometimes it's nice to give them a little something. Like this is what my little granddaughter has. She's 9 and her mum puts a little mini sesame snap in there every now and then. And she loves that. But it's not every day, Remember, school is about being healthy. It's not about treats. Now, what if you've got no time at all for lunch? Or to prepare? What I can give you is, as I said, open a can of baked beans, eat it as you're walking. That'd do. As I said, pack up the lunch before. Leftovers. Diane in the office, I'm so jealous of her lunches because she gets like roast dinners and all these fabulous curries and these. I go, wow, what do you got? And it's always left over. She makes a little bit more, so she's got them for lunch every day, and she has a great lunchbox. But what I've done in the past, the other day, like I wasn't going to get lunch. I mean, I was going into a meeting and I knew that I needed something, but I didn't have time. And I just had one of my shakes. I had the vanilla shake with a handful of frozen mango in it and zhuzhed it up. It was like a Wheezbar. It was fabulous. And at 3 o'clock when I left the meeting, I was in control of myself. I felt fantastic and I wasn't missing out. Had I not had something quick like that, I don't know how my brain would have been functioning really well there. So just think about the shakes. If you add 75 grams of fruit to one of the shakes, either the coffee, chocolate or vanilla, it actually becomes a light lunch for you. Now, let's look at when you're eating out. Like, what can you grab that's healthy when you can't make lunch yourself? I mean, you know, thinking here, like, you know, you've got your rolls, don't forget your carbs, you've got your Rivitas, the rice thin, you know, corn thins or rice thins, and these are 2 different size wraps. So, you know, think about how big you want to go with it. But, you know, like, don't always just think of a sandwich for lunch. You know, you could do, you know, any types of different carbohydrates. You know, even crackers and cheese can be nice for a lunch instead of just having a cheese sandwich. But I've got a quick list for you. 10 ideas for quick, I haven't got time for lunch, I've got to go out and get it. Subway, look for the healthy options. Red Rooster is better than KFC. You know, that's just a thought. A doner kebab can be really good. So doner kebabs are great, you know, because they're a wrap, they've got the salad, but be careful of putting all the other stuff in it, like the cheese, avocado, the hummus and the tahini and all that. They're really high in fat, so make it just light. Sushi is fantastic, or the rice paper rolls. They're great to have out. Sumo salads are fantastic, but just watch the dressings there. Hamburgers, if you're having a hamburger when you're out, but just don't add the bacon, the egg, the pineapple cheese, all those extras. Just keep it to the simple hamburger because there's enough protein in that burger. Chinese, nothing that's deep fried or battered, don't even bother. Thai, you know, stir fries without coconut cream, you could add them in. Grilled fish, if you're out, don't get the battered. And once again, can I mention the soup, because that's a really good one you can have, but you want to make sure that it's not cream based, okay? Now lastly, before I finish up, I've got some healthy snacks that I want to remind you to put in the lunchbox. So once again, the bake day. Baking from my cookbook, such as muffins, biscuits, pie clips, those type of things are fantastic. The little tubs of fruit that you can get with the natural juice is great. Low-fat dips, you know, like the hummus or any of those ones, make up some guacamole, slice up some veggies with it, is fantastic. You'll see lots of great ideas in book 4 in my party food section with dips. Rice crackers, veggie chips, the little snacks. The For Me yogurt, now this one is fantastic because it is the one I suggest in the menu plans because it's both low in fat and low in sugar. So that's the For Me, which is really fantastic, and it's got no fat. Muesli bars, remember, keep them at 3 grams, and the almonds are a real good pick-me-up snack, and even pretzels or homemade popcorn could be something for you. So I hope you got some ideas from that, because, you know, I'm sorry I was throwing it at you, but, you know, lunch is really important. Let's make it interesting. Now, what am I going to give away today? Yes, I think it is going to be a portion plate. You have to have one. So 3 lucky winners are going to win one of these fabulous portion plates. They're melamine, so they travel really well. So how do you win this? You like the page, you share, and you comment. And we all know what we've got to put in the comment if you want to win. That's right, it's hashtag simply2, number 2, good. And you'll go in the draw to be one of the 3 winners. Like this week when they won book 1, how fabulous is that? Now, next week's show, I'm going to be in the kitchen, don in my apron. This is my youngest daughter's favourite pasta dish ever, chicken pesto pasta. I'm going to show you how to make a low-fat pesto that will change your life forever. It's out of book 5. Join me in the kitchen next week because you're going to love it. I mean, who knew that weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? So go to my website if you want more tips and you know, lots of recipes there for you. Go to www.simply2good.com.au, and thank you for spending time with me today. See you next Thursday.